I can't. You know how many times I'm hunting for microphones? You think we got a spare one I could just hang from the ceiling? What are you doing?
Magic.
No, you're not doing magic. Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List, and we're back.
We're back, baby.
Feels like forever.
It's been a while.
Been a minute. Usually we would. That's how long it's been. My throat is. It's not used to this. It's not used to starting a show here like this. Usually we would try to come back like first week of January, but like the first week of January there was only like one movie coming to Netflix.
Yeah,
there's no reason to come back to that.
Yeah.
So
no.
Took a little bit longer hiatus than we usually do, but yeah.
It was good to recharge the batteries.
Yeah.
It was good.
I don't know if I had a chance to actually recharge my batteries as much. I just kind of did that thing when like your phone's on low, but you still have to get somewhere, so you just kind of keep plugging into an outlet as you go down the hall. That's kind of what I did there. But anyways, back to it. Back to movie talking, stuff like that. January, not the best month.
No.
Although I will say there might be a few.
Yeah, you can get surprised in January, but it's commonly known as the dump month.
Yes. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
So instead of really focusing on January, let's do what most people do and look towards the past when we don't want to deal with the future.
That's right.
And kind of give a little bit of a recap of 2024 here and talk about some of the stuff. I also debated on maybe doing a rant here. I don't know if I want to. I'm still kind of mad about this.
Rant about what?
Well, that's just it. I never really said what it was in the outline, so I don't know. I'm still kind of.
I like rants.
I know you do.
Am I going to agree with you or am I going to disagree with you?
I think you'd agree with me on this one.
Okay.
But it's been a while since this story came out, but I'm still kind of fuming about it.
Well, let's do it.
All right. We'll take a little detour here. So, around late December, I gotta get the voice really clear here. Let's take a time out. Actually, all right. If we're gonna rant, we're gonna do this properly. We're gonna be properly hydrated.
Look at you being healthy with the water while I'm sipping liquid of the gods.
Oh yeah, water. Yep, it's definitely water.
Oh yeah, water.
Water on the rocks, as I like to call it. So yeah, late December, I saw like a quote somewhere on social media from Sony Pictures CEO talking about some of their failures recently with some of their movies and everything. And I got the article here, but I want to pull up the first like picture that first made me mad about this. All right, so he said, quote, "These are not terrible films. They were just destroyed by the critics in the press for some reason." That's roughly the quote here. So, just to recap, Sony Pictures CEO is basically blaming the failure of Craven and Madame Web on bad reviews. And that's why they did not do well.
Yeah, that's rough.
Okay, I want to make a broader point here, and this was the thing that I want that, and I don't know if this is as much of a problem as it was at one point, but I'm just gonna let it out there. Critics do not hate films. People out there who are like, "Oh, well, movie critics are just snobby. They just want to hate movies." Critics do not hate films. They don't want to go into a movie hating it. Mm-hmm. I want to go into every movie I go into and come out and say, to some scale, it was good to great. Mm-hmm. At the minimum, good. I want to come out and say, I was entertained, you're going to be entertained. I don't want to come out saying this movie's terrible because I know at the end of the day, those 2 hours of terribleness was a result of a lot of good people trying their best. Mm-hmm. And there was maybe just a few people who made some bad decisions.
Yeah.
So saying that, they just gave them bad reviews basically for the heck of it.
For the memes?
They wanted to tear down these films. No critic benefits because Madame Web was terrible. Yeah. It's not like they got a bonus.
No. I think some of that, too, is the difference between, like, critics. I don't want to say critic score and audience score, but they're definitely different, and some films will have a great critic score, but the audience just doesn't like it as much, or the audience loves the movie and the critics just hate it. So I shouldn't say hate it, they just don't like it. But yeah, I go back and forth. I've always been don't trust what other people say about movies until you go watch them. That's kind of how I feel.
Well, and you bring up the separation of critic and audience score, and I do like the fact that Rotten Tomatoes does kind of do that and everything, because I do think there is different ways there's different mindsets of watching a movie, I think, like that. But to say that there's these, I mean, I don't know, just the fact that you want to blame the failure of your movies because critics said they were bad. Okay, first of all, critics don't do that. That's where review bombing from the fans comes from. So if anyone's actually doing that, it's not the critics. You're blaming the wrong side of the fence.
Yeah.
Second of all, how is someone saying something is bad after you made it affect the badness of the movie? You're saying, oh, well, people didn't like it or it was bad because they said it was bad. Well, yeah, that's their job. That's what they do.
Yeah.
If it was good, they say it was good.
It's not a good take by him.
Because either when you say something like that, you either are so disconnected from how this game is played that I don't even know how you became a CEO of a major entertainment company in the first place. Yeah. Or B, and this is the one that really makes me mad, you just can't admit you were wrong. You just can't admit that we missed. You just can't admit that, hey, people didn't like it. We're sorry. We'll try better next time. Yeah. Okay, there's the fake apology, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there is sometimes where it's like sometimes just admitting you're wrong can actually add to your credibility. Mm-hmm. I can't remember which event it was, but there was like one huge controversial call. I saw this on like a top 10 list on like NFL. This was like early 2000s. Might have been a Giants game or something like that. It might have been the Giants 49ers one where they like missed the field goal, whatever. And the NFL came out afterwards and been like, yeah, no, we missed that one. We're sorry. And a lot of players and teams were like, that to us added to credibility.
Like if they would have done that when Sam Darnold got face masked.
That was going to be my next point. If you missed the call, you missed the call.
Yeah.
But then when you want to go out and say, well, we didn't have a clear view.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
If you were to say we didn't have a clear view, but looking back at it now, we missed it.
Then I'd be
then you're back to good.
Then I'd be like, all right, you admitted you're wrong. I can at least respect you for that.
Yeah.
If he had gone, yeah, we had a game plan, didn't work, and now we're hit and miss with these because Venom was popular at least and got its money back, whatever. Yeah. If he had said that, then I'd be like, all right, you admitted you're wrong. You're ready to move on and figure out what was wrong and do better. Mm-hmm. But you're saying, oh, no, it's the critics' fault. We didn't do anything wrong. Well, then now you have ruined any potential movie that comes out of your studio. Because now, from my perspective, you have not learned your lesson, and it's just going to keep happening. And then you're just going to keep blaming the critics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the part that really makes me mad, is, again, there are hundreds, sometimes thousands of people who work on these movies that now have to work on these bad movies knowing they're going to be bad because the higher-ups haven't learned their lesson.
Yeah.
And that is a waste of time for all of them. And that is a waste of time for us to watch it now because a couple of snobby people who can't admit they're wrong can't then see the issue and fix it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so for people who are like, oh, you're just going crazy over this. No, I'm thinking about all these other people who now are going to have to waste their time, waste their talents, instead of doing good work and just make another crappy Spider-Man movie now, probably.
Yeah. Is that what's next on the docket?
I don't even know anymore.
I don't either.
Because they like so, but if they do, they're going to be like, well, we'll just keep doing what we're doing because it kind of worked for Venom, I guess. I don't know. And
just keep chugging.
If the critics say it's bad, it's just because they hate movies. No, they don't. You never hear about this sort of complaint for any other critique industry. Nobody has ever gone up to a food critic and been like, well, you dislike that restaurant? Well, it's because you hate food.
Yeah.
No, it's because the food tasted bad. That's why.
That's a good point. I've never heard of any other situation like that. It's
never any other critic. It's just movie critics who are like, well, they just hate movies.
Yeah.
No. You don't sit through 2 hours because you hate doing something.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's just part of it because film is very subjective and a lot of other things aren't, I guess. Like food.
I would argue food is subjective.
But I would say
my taste buds are different than your taste buds.
Yeah, but I would argue like citrus will never pair well with walnut. Those two should never go together. And if it does, it's bad because your mouth, those two don't mix. You know what I mean? But there's a little bit more.
I'll give you that.
I would say it's less subjective than movies. Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's completely subjective.
I don't know. I saw that and I'm just like, this is the problem with a lot of industries right now. We could go into politics or whatever too, but this is a movie talk show, so we won't. But
unless it's a political movie.
Yeah, this is a political movie. Then that's where we cross the line a little bit. But yeah, it's the fact that I don't think they realize how many people are relying on this sort of stuff for work and everything, and you just blame it on someone who has nothing to do with it. Absolutely, the movie is done and made by the time the critic sees it.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's like if I got blamed on a death from someone in World War II. Well, I was born in 97.
Yeah.
I was around well after the event was happening.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, right? That's what it sounds like when you blame critics for just saying your movie is bad when it just was bad.
All right. I like it.
The worst part is I was kind of on board with Sony when they were like arguing over the rights and them going to Marvel with Spider-Man. I'm like, no, Sony, you stand strong. We need some other people to kind of make the Marvel or the market competitive. We need this. Now I'm like, no, free Spider-Man. You should not be in the. This is the ultimate villain. This guy's going to do more damage to Spider-Man than Green Goblin or Sandman or Venom ever could. At this point.
Oh, funny.
God bless America.
Or Paul Giamatti.
Yeah. I don't know. He had fun with that movie, so whatever. All right. Yeah, let's just kick things off a little bit with the opening spotlight here, then move on to 2024 in review. I think last year we kind of did a similar criteria here, so I figured why not just kind of do the same thing here. Yeah. Kind of cover four sort of sections. Our most disappointed movie, most surprising movie, least favorite, and then obviously wrap it up with favorite movie of, I think I actually typed in 2023, I meant 2024, so... But luckily that didn't confuse us too much here. But let's start off on a little bit of a negative note. Most disappointing, the one we had the most hype for maybe in our head that we left the theater going, it could have been better.
Yeah.
Why don't you kick us off here?
So for this one, I decided to go with A Quiet Place 3. And it was actually funny because I was like trying to think of movies that I felt disappointed at. And it took me a while, and then I was kind of looking through some of my lists of stuff that I saw this year. Didn't really care for that movie that much. I loved the first two. I think some of it, because it's not at all with like John Krasinski and the family and kind of a continuation of that story like in the second one. This one was just kind of like a way out there, over there kind of thing. And there was cool things about it, but I didn't leave the theater going like, oh, this was so awesome. It was so good. It didn't do anything for me. I really liked the first two, so I really wanted to be like, oh, solid way to finish it out. But that didn't happen at all.
Well, and I think they will, or they were already planning on doing like another one kind of after this that will kind of finish out that story. I don't know. This was kind of a side quest, if you will, kind of like a thing. So, yeah, I know a lot of people were kind of that way and everything. I guess my most disappointing movie, I'm gonna go with Argyle. This was Matthew Vaughn doing another big spy thing. You had one of the biggest casts. You had Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, Henry Cavill, Sam Jackson coming back. All these group of people. Bryan Cranston was in it. and it just was a little too, I don't know if I want to say into itself. It just had too many plot twists.
Too much.
Too many plot twists. Like you watch the first few and it's like, oh, okay, well that's actually kind of interesting what they're doing here, kind of like that. And then it just kept going and kept going, and it's like, wait, is this like a parody of itself now at this point? And you're like, okay, well, this is a good separation from the Kingsman universe and everything. And then they like tried to maybe shoehorn in the Kingsman. Did we ever confirm that, by the way?
I don't know if they confirmed it or not.
Or was that just an Easter egg? I don't even know. And then also at the end, you have like that Henry Cavill plot twist at the end there too. Minor spoilers. But it's like, I don't know. The action was fine in most places. Was a little too colorful, maybe. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know. I just remember going into this one being like, all right, awesome. Matthew Vaughn is back. He's going to take a fresh take on something. We might see something new. I love Matthew Vaughn films in the past. And it just was like, it prevented me from fully enjoying it.
Yeah.
All the plot twists. So that one I probably had the most hype for in my head, mainly because of the cast. I mean, and the cast is fine in it. It's just too much going on.
Yeah.
Too much.
It's busy. It's a busy movie.
Busy movie. But let's look at the flip side of things here and talk about most surprising movie of the year. I kind of had two down here just in case for a backup, but looking at yours, yeah, I'm gonna go with my first choice then. I'm gonna go with Blink Twice. This one was the most surprising for two reasons. One, it was a genuinely really great movie, especially for Zoe Kravitz's first time out as a director. But two, just the fact that there was almost no marketing going into this one. Like, all of a sudden, it was like a week before it came out. I was like, oh, hey, here's a Channing Tatum movie called Blink Twice. Zoe Kravitz directing it.
Yeah.
Hey, check it out. And we were like, well, we got nothing else going on. Let's check it out. So it was surprising in how good it was, but it was also surprising in there was like no real promotion that I saw going into it. So it really was kind of like a last minute, hey, why don't you just try this guy out here in the summer movie months? This is not a very conventional summer movie, but hey, it's just a little something different.
Yeah, and now that you're saying all that, you're right. You're spot on. I really enjoyed that, and it was surprising. It was just kind of like it's a weird movie, okay. Or like, you're not really sure where it's going, and the movie kind of holds its cards pretty close to its chest until, I would say, even a little bit longer than most movies would. Yeah.
And then when it does finally kind of do the full reveal, by then you've kind of already figured it out. And so then it's kind of a confirmation in your head as well. So, but I mean, the performances are excellent. Like I said, once again, the direction from Zoe Kravitz is phenomenal here for her first go out. It's, truly, truly surprising. But I don't know, why don't you tell us what's your most surprising movie of the year?
My most surprising was how much I enjoyed Longlegs. Obviously, if you've seen it, you understand. Yeah, Nicolas Cage is in there, but he's actually not in there as much as I thought he was going to be. I thought it was going to be much more of like almost as in like he's the main character the entire movie, kind of following him doing stuff. But it wasn't that. And I didn't really know what to expect, especially going off the trailers. It's like, it was just like, interesting. And then it's like, this movie is one of the best horror movies of the decade or something. It's like, whoa. So when saw it, it completely blew me out of the water. I really liked it. That's what I'm going. I'm a horror guy, so I really enjoy
that's definitely right up your alley there for sure. All right, then let's continue on here. Least favorite movie of the year. I noticed you didn't have anything written down here. Is that because you had the same answer as me, or
what did you have?
I had Madam Web.
Yeah,
that was the same answer.
Yep.
Okay, let me see if I can find a backup here then.
What are some other terrible movies that came out?
Well, okay, I could tell you my bottom 5.
Okay, what are your
How
bottom
about that?
5?
Here's my bottom 5. And I'll tell you, we can maybe do this for favorite then as well, then, just to keep it even and fair. Bottom 5 coming in. So this is based off that top 52 list I did. For those of you who don't know, I do top 52 because there's 52 weeks in the year, and I feel like that's the best way to encompass reviewing a whole year. So basically coming in at number 48, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F.
see that one.
Yeah, it had funny moments.
Yeah.
But compare it to how far Eddie Murphy has fallen.
Yeah.
It's a little depressing. Kraven the Hunter, but according to the Sony executive, that's my fault that it was bad, so whatever. Challengers, and then Venom, and then Madam Web.
You had Challengers that far down?
Yeah.
Really?
Not at first, but as I kind of went through the year, it just kind of slowly found its way down there a little bit more and more and more.
Okay.
But that's just because there was a bunch of other movies I'd rather watch a second time, I suppose, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's my bottom 5. But why don't you talk a little bit about Madam Web then? What was it about?
It's hard, too, because I had so much fun at this movie, just talking trash at it as it's happening. But the movie itself is terrible. Like, I wouldn't show my kids this.
And not because of an inappropriate way, just because you don't want to put them through that kind of punishment.
Like, it's almost like it's trying so hard to be serious, but is goofy at the same time. And it doesn't understand how to do, like, the funny jokes. Like, kind of, I would say, like, more Marvel-esque, how they do it. They tried to do that, and it was just bad. And I thought it relied a lot on, like, Sydney Sweeney. Is that her name?
See, I would argue it
No, I was going to say
didn't.
her and that group of girls.
Yeah.
Like, I
See,
don't know.
and that's part of the reason why it's so low for me is because I actually really liked those 3. When it was just kind of them 3, and it wasn't the Dakota Johnson character, honestly, I liked it more.
She didn't even see the movie. She hadn't seen it. So.
Yeah, so... Yeah, but apparently, the movie's so bad your lead actress didn't even see it, but it's the critics' fault that it's bad, that it got trashed and everything. No, it's the critics' fault.
It was a bad movie. I'm sure if I went through and looked harder, there might be something I could find that was cringier, but...
I don't know if there is, though, honestly. Just because even though I have Venom 3 kind of right next to it, I will argue there is... maybe better jokes. I just think the story is a lot dumber there and hypes up a little too much and everything. But, yeah, I mean, Madam Web is not good in my opinion, and it's just also the fact that they squandered. You could see the potential there. You could actually see potential there.
Yeah.
I think. And that's what makes me mad as well, is like, okay, those 3 have good chemistry. As much as I hate this movie, I would not mind a sort of Spider-Man spinoff of those 3.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'd be good
and I
with
think
that.
it would be. I think that would actually make some money.
I think it would too. So if the Sony executive is listening, maybe for those of you who watch this on the public access channel and didn't hear my rant earlier on because I cut it, this whole conversation is going to be very confusing. But check out the full version on YouTube. Hey, we talk a lot about movies on this channel, but sometimes the ones we talk about aren't the most accessible. That's where the Marshall-Lyon County Library comes in handy. They have a great collection of physical media, as well as a couple of online services with many, many options for movies, TV shows, and documentaries. It's easy. Just get your own library card at the Marshall-Lyon County Library and gain access to their large variety of movies, TV shows, and of course, books. Also, be sure to check back every month as we here at Popcorn Bucket List make specific movie recommendations based on a monthly theme. So head on over to the Marshall-Lyon County Library for some of our favorites and check out the channel to get even more movie recommendations. And now, on with the show! All right, but let's cap things off on a little bit more of a positive note. Favorite movie.
Free money.
Yeah, all money's my favorite money. Really, think about it.
Can't beat it.
Favorite movie of 2024. Ryan, I'll have you kick us off here. What was your favorite? I don't think it's really any surprise here, but I think it's a good one.
Nosferatu. That actually sounded
that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Is he here? Oh, my God.
Yeah. Why?
What's he doing in the daytime? What's he doing? He's going to die.
Robert Eggers absolutely smacks another home run this time. I am a little nervous that he's not going to get any love this year at the Oscars. It does keep me up at night some nights because he is an absolutely extraordinary, awesome director. And I think the people that have seen his films understand that, and I think A24 understands that, and but I don't think the Oscar community,
the Academy,
the Academy has recognized that, and I think when he's super old and done making movies, people are going to look back and say, like, wow, this guy was something. And that's what, honestly, this movie was great. It's a different take on Dracula compared to pretty much everything you know. I don't know if I should really say that, but it's part of it.
I don't think that's too much of a spoiler.
Yeah, it's very accurate to maybe the more factual history of quote-unquote vampires and Count Orlok and Count Dracula and all of that. So it's but it's such a good movie. All the performances are great. It's got one of the best. Yeah, it's just awesome. So good. Go check it out. It's dark. Bill Skarsgård does a fantastic job of transformation. It's crazy. Just go watch it.
So do you want to hear my top 5 then, and then kind of end on my favorite one then,
Yep.
just so we kind of keep it even, both ends?
Let's do it.
Coming in at number 5, Furiosa. This is another movie that looked amazing, and the acting and action was amazing. I almost wanted to put a separate category of most disappointing box office bomb, and that would have been my pick for that one as well. I feel like you're kind of in the same vein of that one.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me how this movie did not make money.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider Mad Max was such a big hit. Number 4, I debated on having this one in my list because it's a documentary. I don't know if you can really judge those the same way as movies, but I got Will and Harper. It's the one with Will Ferrell where he goes cross-country with his transgender friend and writer.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a fantastic documentary. And like we kind of said when we previewed it, you see a raw, more emotional side of Will Ferrell that we do not see in his real life. So I would definitely recommend that one. Number 3, Nosferatu. That was a late-stage one. I had to put that in my top 5. I was blown away by that for sure. I don't think it's going to get... I think if it gets nominated for anything at the Oscars, even if it's a smaller award, I will consider that a win.
Yeah.
Either that or cinematography. If it could get cinematography, that'd be a big one for it, I think.
Is it going to beat out Dune?
No, probably not.
Yeah.
But if it gets nominated for a few things, I think that would be a win.
Yeah.
Number 2, The Wild Robot. This was a fantastic animated movie. I think it was better than anything Pixar put out this year. And Pixar put out some good stuff this year. Yeah. But that's my number 2. My number 1 is Dune Part 2, however. And a huge reason why you could tell whether or not I like a movie is the runtime. If it's I've said it before, I'll say it again. If it's over 2 hours, it better earn that overtime. In my book. And this was like a 2-hour, 45-minute movie that we saw at midnight, at a midnight premiere. Yeah. And as it was wrapping up, I was like, I don't want to, let's keep going. Let's go. Yeah. Let's keep going with this train ride.
It does have a powerful ending too.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to keep going. I didn't want to stop. I don't care if it's at 3 a.m. and we had work the next morning. I want to keep going. Yeah. I want to see what else Mr. Chalamet and Zendaya have going on here.
And Florence Pugh.
I want to see, we had such little time with her in this movie. I want to see what else she's got going on. I want more walking.
Does the new one come out this year, or is it next year?
I think it's going to be a little bit. Villeneuve, he likes to take his time.
Sean back to back.
He likes to slow roast those movies.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, we're going to have to be patient for that one. But Dune Part 2, that's my number 1 of the year. But, all right. I think it's pretty safe to say if we had to come up with each our own top 5, it'd be similar, at least. I think we both have Nosferatu and Dune 2 up there. So yeah. But that is everything to talk about here for 2024. Let us know what your favorites were. What were some of your least favorite, most disappointed, most surprised? That's always the one I'm most fascinated to think about and everything. And also, if you want a few of our other recommendations, I believe we've got those set up at the Marshall-Lyon County Library this month. Yep. That'll be the focus here for January. Obviously, we couldn't have necessarily our top 5s up there because, like I said, Nosferatu just came out a few weeks ago. Obviously, it's not out on DVD yet.
It's not going to be out for a while.
But I do believe you can. I believe you told me this. You can get the original.
Yep, you can get the original.
So maybe we should have just had it. We can maybe put that. We'll work on that. But yeah, check those out over at the Lyon County Library. But with that, let's move on to the weekly preview here. That was a very enthusiastic transition I've done. I don't know where that came from, really. there's only a couple things out here. Like we mentioned before, January, dump month. Not a lot to look forward to here in the near future. But there are still some movies to check out here. So let's talk about them. Coming out Friday, January 10th, Better Man. Coming straight to theaters. This one's rated R. A musical biopic, essentially, with a very interesting twist. Focuses on the real-life pop star Robbie Williams, but shows how, I guess, he sees himself. At least that's what I saw in one of the trailers.
Looks awful.
You talk about the CGI, right?
I'm talking about the whole movie in general.
Okay, you're talking about the whole movie in general.
The whole movie in general.
All right. Well, let's get into that. So you're not on board with this idea, this concept?
No, I think this is terrible.
Okay. I will say, at first, I would agree with you. Mm-hmm. But then I remembered back to last year. We talked about that Pharrell Williams biopic where it was like all in Lego.
That's fine. The entire movie's in Lego.
Okay, but let me. Here's the reason why. I was like, in this day and age, there are more and more musical or documentaries about musicians and biopics. Mm-hmm. As much as I like to Complete Unknown, it looked and sounded like a lot of other. It looked and sounded like Walk the Line, which makes sense. It was made by the same guy, but it just didn't have a uniqueness to it. And I think you have to do that more and more these days. So I think this is their way of making it. So you should
CGI the main character as a monkey? Okay, Curious George. Like, is this guy still alive?
I don't think he is, actually. I think about it when I looked it up earlier or something like that. But I don't know. It's getting us to talk about it. If not for this, we would have been like, hey, it's about Robbie Williams.
All say this is trash. Is it going to be our fault that the movie was bad?
No, because this wasn't produced by Sony, so we're in the clear here, I guess. Yeah. I will say this: as much as I'm gonna maybe try and defend this movie, the CGI does not look great.
No.
Planet of the Apes came out last year, and they made a whole army of monkeys look real. You couldn't get one of those guys to come over and help you with this?
The best part was I watched the trailer yesterday with Cole and Jada. Shout out to your new family.
Congratulations on that. I don't know if we said that.
And one of the first comments, the highest pinned or like the most commented one, liked one, was after Caesar won the war, they made a biopic about him becoming a Broadway dancer or something. Like, that was the number one comment on the official trailer was Planet of the Apes, Caesar becomes a singer now. Or it was like that
would have been a better spinoff.
Yeah, Jada read it and it was like, in his guilt, Caesar decides to sing his emotions or something and joins a boy band. And like, yeah, it was funny. Yeah, but like, and I also think how much money they could have saved from all the CGI crap and done something with it, put it towards something else.
I guess here's the last thing I'll say to defend this. Honest question. Who out there was clamoring for a Robbie Williams biopic?
Nobody.
Exactly. But you're going to give this movie a second look because the poster has a face of a monkey and says Better Man. So to all those out there who don't necessarily watch this show or don't watch trailers, but there's still people out there who go up to a theater, look at the posters, whichever one's most eye-catching, that's the one they go into.
Yeah.
So if you're making this movie and you're like, I got to get people in the seats, which poster is going to do it more? Just Robbie Williams biopic that just says Robbie or something like that? Or a monkey saying Better Man? Now, I'm not necessarily saying this one is going to beat all those other posters.
Yep.
Especially with Wicked and all that still out.
If they would have had maybe a Robbie Williams guy standing there that looks like him and it said Better Man, be like, oh, that looks like Robbie Williams. Now, if you don't know, you're going to walk up and say, why is there a monkey singing that band? Better Man? All right. And then look over to the next thing. I don't think that's going to do anything.
And then they're like, let's just watch Wicked for the third time, I guess.
Yeah, that's what,
I don't know.
I don't know. I can see the angle you're presenting, though.
I'm not necessarily saying it's the right move, but I think it's a better move than just doing the status quo.
I would say it's a different move from doing the status quo. I wouldn't say it's better.
I guess that we
we'll
can agree on.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see because who knows? Maybe this movie will just do bonkers, and it's like more people wanted to see it because of the monkeyness. And
it'll probably do great internationally. I'm pretty sure he was like a British pop star or something like that.
Yeah, it just joined some boy band.
Yeah. But also coming out here this weekend, Den of Thieves 2. This one's also coming to theaters.
Looks awesome.
Also rated R. You want to do that take again there, bud? That sounded like
looks awesome.
That sounded like King of the Hill.
Yeah,
and Kill going. All right, guys, let's go drink.
I was young.
I don't do great.
Hey.
Yeah. This is a sequel to the Surprise 28 sleeper hit. This one sees Gerard Butler, the former cop, teaming up with O'Shea Jackson Jr., a career criminal, to team up for a big diamond heist. I don't know about you, but this looks like a good heist movie.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I like Gerard Butler. I like O'Shea. How do you say his first name?
I think it's just O'Shea Jackson.
O'Shea, yeah.
Jr.
I think he's great. Yeah, I like heists.
I think I read somewhere they're gonna like reference that they're like teaming up with some of like the Pink Panthers in this, which is like a real life
gang
disorganized heist group. If you look into them, like there's a lot of like Pink Panther jewelry robberies, but they haven't confirmed it's all connected. A lot of people think it's just groups of people who kind of use the moniker and they do all these heists all over Europe and everything like that. I think they said they're gonna kind of use that as part of this here, so I think that's kind of an interesting angle. But what's interesting is the first one, like I said, was well received by everyone who watched it. The problem is almost no one watched it.
Yeah,
myself included. I was a part of the problem.
Yep. I've seen it.
Then.
I really liked it.
Yeah,
it's good.
You're one of the people who were screaming from the mountains like this is a good movie.
Yeah.
Now here's the interesting part. The first one also came out in January. Despite the hype, you think you'd be able to justify a different month. Yeah. What is different this time that we think the reason why they think they're going to release it in January, that it's going to have a different result?
That's a good question. I don't know.
There is more hype around this one because of the first one, but is it going to be enough?
I think part of it was they wanted to release it where nothing else is out. Like Wicked's been out for a while. Nosferatu's been out for a while. You're competing against a CGI'd monkey singing in front of a boy band. Would you rather compete against that or compete against Captain America Civil War or whatever is coming out next? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a fair point. As far as competition goes, I take my chances with the monkey too.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe this is the second time is the charm.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking to myself, like, it didn't work first time in January. What is it that's going to make it work the second time? That's what worries me. But maybe it does have enough hype with it now. So hopefully it does. But with that, let's wrap things up like we usually do with some number one recommends. Ryan, why don't you kick us off? First one of 2025.
I'm going to have to do it, Nosferatu, because I have to. We haven't had a chance to talk about it on here yet. Best movie, in my opinion, of the year last year. I'm saying that without really sitting down and looking at the list of everything that I saw last year, but I'm pretty confident it's my number one. Robert Eggers delivers another masterpiece. William Dafoe, Lily Rose Depp, and is it? It's Lily Rose Depp.
Yep.
And Nicholas Hoult, William Dafoe, Skarsgård, everybody awesome. I can't remember the doctor's name. He was the knight in The Green Knight. He's got the super
I've seen him in other things too. I could recognize his voice, but I can't think of his name either.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the dad in The Witch. Also, Bill Skarsgård dropped his voice an entire octave. He went to an opera. I think it was an opera singer, and they taught him how to lower his voice an octave. It's crazy. There's only 2 lines that are CGI'd for him, or not CGI, but enhanced in the movie, and it's 2 lines where he's yelling because he can't yell that loud with doing that stuff to his voice, so they had to digitally make his voice louder. But other than that, all that talking, that's his actual voice, just talking like this.
I'm convinced Skarsgård is not human.
No, he's the Lon Chaney of present day.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. Check it out. It's so good.
I'm just going to really quickly essentially add on to recommend you made a couple weeks, Carry On. This was the last movie I had seen in 2024 to round out my 52 list. And I was like, enough people have been talking about this movie. Might as well end on a high note. And, I think I was a little harder in this movie when we previewed it. I thought it was going to be a little bit more cheesier than it actually was. It kind of takes itself pretty seriously. Taron Egerton is a great actor. Jason Bateman is menacing in this
Phenomenal as a bad guy.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it had some pretty good action there for sure. So, definitely enjoyed that one for sure. But that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. A lot going on in the world of sports. We were talking a little bit about that before we started recording here. So, if you need a little help breaking down everything that's going on in all of Minnesota sports, make sure you head on over to our friends at Minnesota Sports Live. It's for Minnesota sports fans by a couple of the biggest Minnesota sports fans out there. You can get that link down in the description below here on this YouTube channel. For myself, Ryan, and Carter, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.